Have you noticed in the questions we've done so far, everything works out to be really, really pretty numbers, right? Okay, there's been no division, no ugly decimals. What happens if you do get ugly decimals, though? What do we do with those ugly decimals? How do we carry them on? That's the key of this one. Okay, so this ends up being a remainder. This is the remainder decimal method I'm going to teach you right now. Okay, take a look at this question. It says 51 inches. Now, most people probably can do this in your head. If you go out and you talk to your grandfather who grew up in the Imperial system, he can probably tell you this right off the bat in his head. But you know what? We're not as familiar with this as our grandparents would be. So guess what? I got to show you a different method of doing this. Hey? All right, let's go. 51 inches. Check this out. I want this in yards, feet, and inches. So I'm going to have a remainder of inches left. Oh boy, this ought to be interesting. Okay, how do we do this? Well, I know I can go out and I can divide this by 36, and then I can get a remainder and da. Let's just do this dimensional analysis, and I'll show you how to do it right off the bat. First things first, convert this. Convert this into what? Well, I'm going to convert this right into yards right off the bat. Okay, I'm going to have my yards right here, and I'm going to show you what we can do with it afterwards. 51 inches. What's the conversion? Well, 1 yard, 36. There's where the problem comes in, hey? Right there is where we're going to have problems. 51 divided by 36 is going to give us that ugly decimal. So watch what happens here. It's kind of neat. I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to divide it out. I know it's division because guess what? Inches and inches cancel, but I would go 51 times 1, and that, remember, that symbol means to divide, okay? So 51 divided by 36. Let's bring up the calculator right now. 51 divided by 36. And check this out. It gives you a huge number. It's a gross-looking number, right? All these crazy decimals on it. Let me show you how to interpret this. Remember what you did. Remember what dimensional analysis was all about. If you do the dimensional analysis, we are now in yards. Aha. So what does this mean? Look at this number. That means we have 1 yard. That's what that means. We have 1 yard, and we've got this incredible amount of remainder yards. This is a remainder in yards. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let me show you how this works. It's actually quite cool. So what are you going to have to do? Well, we know this is 1 yard, so I can go back to this thing right now and say I have at least 1 yard. But I have all of this crazy remainder stuff in yards. Well, what do I have? Okay, watch. I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to subtract out the 1 and just deal with what's left. So let me clean this up for you so you can see it a little better. There we go. I've got 0.41666, and so on, yards. Okay, so check this out. What am I going to do with this? Okay, 0.416, 0.416. I've got that in yards now, right? Okay, guess what? I got my yards. I know it's 1. Okay, now let's convert what's left into feet. Simple. Take your yards. There we go. There's your feet. Okay, and realize that you have 3 feet in every 1 yard. So I'm going to take whatever was left, right? Because I know I've got my 1 yard. Take whatever's left and multiply it by 3. Multiply this, whatever's left, by 3. And look what I have. I have 1.25. So what is this? Go back to this and say, oh, well, yards cancels out, right? I'm in feet. How many feet? I have 1.25 feet. Okay, so this is 1.25 feet. So what does that mean? Interpret this. I have 1 foot and 0.25 feet left. Guess what? Take that now and convert it into inches. To convert that into inches, real simple. Just take that 0.25. What's left? Because you know you have 1 foot right there. You know you have 1 yard right there. Okay? But you have 0.25 feet, which now needs to be converted into inches. Feet on the bottom, inches on the top, 12 inches, 1 foot. So you got that 0.25, and you're going to multiply this. Aha. Subtract out that 1. There's the 0.25 that's left. You're going to multiply this by 12. Check this out. You got 3 inches. Whoa, is that ever cool? So what do you have? Guess what? You have 1 yard, 1 foot, 3 inches. Isn't that wild? Talk to your grandpa or your grandma about how to convert this. And they might show you something else that's really, really neat. But I got to tell you, this is probably the easiest and most logical way of doing things. Okay, let me show you how this works with B and C here. You ready? Okay, here we go. Let's go. First things first, 7,390 feet. Well, let's convert this into miles first, okay? And then remember, everything after that is going to be in miles. See how we're going to do this? We're going to convert it to miles, and then we're going to convert it to yards, and then we're going to convert it to inches. Whatever's left is the thing the remainder is what you're going to convert. Okay, here we go. 7,390 feet. Okay. I want to convert this into miles first. So feet on the bottom, miles on the top. What's the conversion? Right there. 5280. So 1 mile, 5280. Are you with me? Okay. So let's go to our calculator. 7390. Okay, clear. 7390 divided by 5280. I know that's going to be 1, but 1 point what? 1.3996 2121. Oh boy, ugly, ugly, ugly. But at least I know I have 1 mile. Got it? Okay, so I'm going to go back to my notes here and put down that I have at least 1 mile. Beautiful. But I have this ugly remainder to deal with. Well, think about it. What is that remainder? Go to here. The remainder is 0.3996. Okay, so what I could do here to make sure that everything works out, just take that mile off and just deal with what the remainder is. So I got 0.3996. Let's go back to here. 0.3996 what? Well, remember, you canceled the feet, so this has to be miles. What's your next step? Yards. So convert the whole thing into yards again. Watch this. Okay, miles on the bottom, yards on the top. All right, so miles and yards, right there, 1760. So think about it. Okay, miles on the top, got to cancel, 1760. Miles on the bottom cancels with miles on the top. 1760 times whatever that remainder is. Let's go. Take that times 1760, and look what I've got. 703.3333. So remember, that's 703 yards and remaining yards, right? Okay, so I got 703 yards, and whatever remainder it is, I want to convert this into inches. Well, what was that remainder? Look back here. It was 0.333. So get rid of that 703 because you've got 703 yards, and you want to just deal with the remainder, which is 0.333 repeating. Okay, here we go. 0.33 repeater, but what are you dealing with? Remember, that was yards. How do you know? Because that's what you deleted here and here. Okay, so now you want to convert this into inches. So guess what? Yards on the bottom, inches on the top, 36 inches, 1 yard. Whew. Okay, here we go. Back to your calculator. So you're just going to multiply this remaining amount here by 36, and look what you got. 12 inches. Awesome. So this works out to be 12 inches. Now, we know that 12 inches is 1 foot, but it doesn't ask for feet. It asks for inches. So you got 1 mile, 703 yards, and 12 inches. Isn't that wild? Holy smokes. Let's do one more just for the heck of it, and let's see what we can get out of this monster, eh? Is this ever cool or what? I tell ya. Okay, here we go. One more time. Hit me, baby, one more time, like Britney Spears would say. Dung, dung, dung. Oh, oops. Okay. First things first. We got to convert this into miles. Oh, man. Oh, man, are you serious? Okay, let's do miles first. Notice how we're always dealing with the biggest value first. Okay, got to convert this. Well, this means I'm going to have to do a multiple conversion. Oh, okay, fine. I'll stop grumbling about it. 3, 4, 7, 5, 6 inches. Convert this first. Let's convert this into yards first, okay? Inches on the bottom, yards on top because we don't have a conversion that goes directly from inches into miles. Rats. Okay, so 36 inches makes 1 yard. Okay, now let's convert this. Get rid of the yards now on the bottom. Bring the miles in. We know that this is going to be 1760. So we're going to divide this 34756 by 36 and 1760. Okay, let's go back to our calculator. Clear this guy out of here. Let's get all of this stuff off our screen so it doesn't distract us. Here we go. Ready? So the numbers were 34756. Okay, 34756. We're going to divide that by, what did it say? Oh, 36 first. Okay, divided by 36 first. Give me a number. Okay, and then we're going to take this guy here and we're going to divide it by 1760. Divided by 1760. And look what we got. Look at the answer. Now, here's the difference between somebody who knows what the answer is and somebody who just kind of follows blindly along. I want you to look at this answer. Think about this. How many miles do we actually have? We don't have any. We have 0.54 of a mile. Yippee skippy. Okay, so guess what? We have 0 miles. Oh my. Okay, so if I'm converting this, guess what? I have 0 miles. Oops. I have 0 miles. That's it. Wow. So guess what? I got to convert it then back into yards. Well, wait a second. Don't I have yards already? Yeah, when I did this conversion here, remember, I divided by 36. There's my yards. 765.444. That was my yards conversion. If you don't believe me, I'll show it to you. Let's do it one more time. Here we go. This is 34756 inches. I want to just convert this into yards because I know miles is 0. Okay. So inches on the bottom, yards on the top. Remember, I got 36 inches in 1 yard. So I can go 34756 divided by 36. Okay, so I'm going to clear this out of here so that we don't need to see any of these distractions here. Okay? All right, so back to our numbers. Our number was, again, 34756. 34756. We're going to divide that by 36 inches per yard. I'm going to get this wonderful number of 965. And look at this. That's 965 yards plus its remainder. So going back to here, right? Oops, right back to here. I got 965, right? 965. Yep. 965. 965 yards. Beautiful. And I had that crazy remainder, and the remainder being 0.44444, okay? So 0.444 repeating, okay? Inches cancels out. I know that this is yards. So what's the next step? I need to convert that. I've converted it into yards. I need to convert it into feet. No problem. Yards on the bottom, feet on the top, okay? I know I have 3 feet per 1 yard, so I'm going to take that 0.444 and multiply it by 3 now. Okay, so I got to get rid of the 965 first. Boom. And I'm going to multiply that by 3. Boom, the remainder. So look at this. I got 1. Okay, what does that mean? 1 what? Go back to here. Yards cancel out. Oh, that means I have, guess what? I have 1 foot. Sweet. Okay, so feet's looked after. Okay, whatever the remainder is now is what I use to determine inches. Okay, what was that remainder? Well, subtract the 1 off there. There it is. I got 0.3333 of a what? I got 0.33 repeater of what? Well, that was in feet. You want this in inches now. Feet on the bottom, inches on the top, 12 inches, 1 foot. So take that remainder, multiply it by 12, and look what you get. Check this out. Multiply it by 12, and you get 4. Ha! Isn't that sweet? So that works out to be 4 inches. So your answer is 0 miles, right? 965 yards. My goodness. 1 foot and 4 inches. And that's how you do one of these multiple ones. Takes a little while and a little bit of practice, but stick to that. Remember to deal with those remainders, and you're going to be just fine.